Hi friends, welcome to my home and thank you for coming to my channel. I am so excited for our debut guest. It's none other than my mom, Theresa. I'm so excited. I'm so grateful that she was able to take the time out of her busy schedule to just tell us about her life and where she came from, and I just can't wait to hear all of the wonderful nuggets that you're going to be getting from this wise person. Cheers. Okay, so thank you for taking the time. I really wanted to sit down with you and just chat about just your life. I know we always laugh about just your childhood and just growing up in your household. I've seen you build.
The middle child.
Oh, she's the middle child. I've seen you build from nothing and then get everything and then lose it and gain. And I just feel like we're just in such an environment that is very fearful, an environment that makes you worry about just your overall well-being today. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to just share your story and just hopefully provide hope and inspiration to those who not only are in your industry, but just knowing that you can overcome and you can build something great. And it doesn't matter if we're in a great economy or a recession or in America or in a third world country. So I kind of wanted to start from the beginning. Tell us about your childhood.
Childhood-wise, I grew up with not having much.
Where were you? And for those
this
who
is
don't know,
in the Philippines, of course. But if you have that dream to make it, it's nothing is impossible.
And in your mind, as a little girl in the provinces of the Philippines, what did making it mean to you?
I always know at a younger age, I always know that I wasn't making a life there. I knew I will be living here in the United States at that time. I don't know how and why, but that was my dream, is to make a life here in the United States. I think everyone wants that life.
Yeah.
I think so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And to you, what did it mean to be able to come to the United States, and what would you define as your definition of the American dream?
Well, everyone, of course, back home, want to live here in the United States, and of course they have very minimal sources how to, and I'm one of the fortunate one to be able to come here and make a life here. And I really I'm really grateful about that, because you're not gonna be here if I didn't probably dream of coming here, which I think the start of it, it was not easy, being raised in the Philippines and able to come here, but I was fortunate enough to do it.
Yeah. And can you tell us just about your early days of just coming here? You met my dad in the Philippines.
Yeah, I met your dad. He was in the Air Force, and I was working at the base, and that was the start of it. And unfortunately, the volcano erupted, so we were migrated to Hawaii. Actually, I was on vacation already, getting my citizenship when that happened. So I wasn't. I was lucky enough not to experience all that. Mm-hmm. So that was the start, and we eventually moved in Las Vegas, which I never left 30 years later.
Yeah.
And of course, you guys are all born and raised in Las Vegas.
Yeah. And what were you doing when you guys first came to Las Vegas? Were you working? Were you just focusing on raising me? What were the early days here?
My background is always in accounting. So of course, the first year I didn't work to raise you. But after that, it's nonstop grind.
What was your day in the life like?
I'm always a go-getter, ambitious, and I know I'm not satisfied just, being where I started, and I know I can move up from there. I never really felt discriminated or different from anyone else. Like
Yeah.
I always feel like we're equal, and I
Yeah.
think that's very important in life. Like if you are ambitious and hard worker, nothing is impossible.
Yeah, I feel like you really instilled that in me and my siblings. Like
Yeah.
we were never ever put in our mind that like, oh, because you guys weren't from here, or, like my sister and I are women, like we never felt like, okay, we had to work just as hard as anyone else, if not more. We just had to work hard, and we had to earn our place where
You
we
just
were
have
at.
to work hard. You just have to. I mean, nothing is really. There's no shortcut being successful. Everyone
Yeah.
started somewhere, and I did start from the bottom.
Yeah.
Had 3 jobs at one point, so it wasn't always like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have those 3 jobs like when you guys first came to the States, or was it like when you and dad split up and you
No,
were raising us?
when me and your dad split up, and you guys are just very, very young.
Yeah, because I
And
don't even
so,
remember.
yeah.
I just remember like I would wake up early for school, and like you were already gone, and like it was still like the sun hadn't even set, like didn't even rise yet.
Yes, I think I start working like 5 a.m. till like
As
I
an
don't know.
accountant.
Yes.
Okay.
So
what was the
I
other
would-
jobs?
The
don't
other
even
job
remember
was
this.
like I do cocktailing.
What?
Yeah.
You were?
at
Oh my
night.
gosh! Is that where I got
And
it from?
thankfully, Auntie Mercedes helped me with you guys.
Yeah. And
and
Lola
then
and Lolo.
and the third job was like cooking, selling this cooking stuff.
What?
And invite a lot of friends in your house, and then
Oh
you
wait,
just
I
started-
remember this.
Yeah.
Well, it was the Pampered Chef.
Yes.
Shout out to the Pampered Chef.
Yeah.
Apparently, y'all helped pay the bills back then.
Right. So I wasn't, in my mind, I always told myself I'd rather be tired than broke. Like
Yeah.
that's how I always think. So I don't, even up to this date, like behind the scenes of the many travel that I have, people don't know, like 2 a.m. I'll be up, like answering email, texting clients, just trying to make sure that everything is in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel like we got that from you, was your strong work ethic.
Right.
Yeah, because I never felt like, even if things were bad, or if, we weren't maybe having a good paying job or what have you, like we were never going to get to the point of homeless, like ever.
Never.
Yeah.
Because there's so much opportunity here living in America, which is, I hope a lot of people would know how easy they got it, like living here.
Yeah.
Because, if you go travel to many other countries, they don't have the same opportunity
Yeah.
that we have here.
Yeah, no, definitely. I kind of want to like fast forward a little bit so I know you started your career here as an accountant, and I think even just the mindset of the generation of like your parents were always like, okay, you made it to America. Now you have this great job and you have these benefits and you have a family to feed. And then next thing you know, we're in the early 2000s and you decide to take that leap of faith and become a real estate agent.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, the story behind that, like, of course, like working in the office, corporate America, it's really hard, like working 10, 12 hours a day and having no life, missing everything, for your kids, all their activities in school and stuff like that. So I kind of want to make a change in my career, and I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about sales. I thought I didn't know anything about it, but I just realized that just comes naturally. Every single one of us, you're always selling every day.
Yeah.
Whether you work in an office, you're always upselling something. So that's what happened. And so I told myself, like, okay, I'm gonna go to real estate school, not knowing anything about it. And I did pass the exam, and
it took a few times. So for those who are feeling discouraged, because I've taken that test, it is so hard. But if
it's not a few times.
Yeah,
it's like I did a self-study.
As long as you don't give up, you can pass the test and still get started. I still haven't passed that test. That's why I'm a mortgage loan officer, but I digress.
Yeah, so I did a self-study and didn't tell anyone I was taking the test in case I didn't pass. So when I passed, I just like, hey, I'm quitting my job. I think it was my mom who I first told about it.
Because you went all in. Like you weren't like, you didn't just like start slow, kept your 9 to 5, kept that income going. You just like went head first into it.
Yeah, because I just have this, like for myself, like if I want to succeed about anything, I have to do it 100%.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to do it like after 5 or on the weekend only. Like if I want to excel in something, I have to give my 100%. That's just me, 150% even. So I closed my eyes and quit my job, which is like a really good job back then. I remember telling my mom and she's so scared for me, saying like, why would you just take a commission base? You know, you have all these kids, and I just like, you know, why can't I? If I believe in myself, I know I can do it, and that became a challenge for me too. You know, like if people are saying you can't do it, that's my high. Like I have to show you that I can do it.
Yeah.
And that's always me. I'm always like very competitive like that.
Yeah. And like, I remember you were telling me a story about that, and you were getting a lot of resistance from your parents because they helped raise us. So like, tell us about that. When you decided to go all in, you quit your job in March.
I quit my job in September.
Okay. You just quit your job in September.
September 2004.
Okay. And then when did you start real estate?
And well, when I was working in the office, of course, I cannot go anywhere. I cannot travel. So the first thing I did then is like, okay, I'm going to the Philippines first before I do.
So you went on vacation.
So I
it.
went and I went to do stuff that I wasn't able to do when I was working in the office. Mm-hmm. So it was in February when I said, okay, now I can do real estate.
Okay. Got it.
That was the time, that was in 2005, wherein that was the height of the market. And living in Las Vegas for so long and rooted in Vegas, I know a lot of people. And getting clients is really tough. You know, you have to really tell them or sell yourself, like, why are they going to hire you, you know, to sell their house or to find them a home.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, with someone with no experience.
Right.
But I did not act like I didn't know what I'm doing.
Okay.
So I remember my first deal was like, she was a broker in LA. And she bought a house at Southern Highland Golf Club, and it was like 1.5 million.
That was your first sale?
That was my first.
Okay, you guys, let's just pause right here, because I know there are a lot of aspiring real estate agents, and you just think like, oh yeah, I'm going to get my license and I'm going to be like on Selling Sunset. This doesn't happen all the time, okay? So I'm sorry for the unrelatable story.
Yeah, so I remember like writing the contract in the bathroom, so they cannot like see me, you know, going back and forth with the paperwork. And back then, like everything is like printed. You're filling out the form in front of them, and I just say, excuse myself. So I made sure the contract is complete and accurate. Up to this day, they became my friends. I'm not going to mention who, but up to this day, they probably didn't even know they were my first ever sale.
That is hilarious. You never told me that story.
Yeah, that was. I thought I always told us that story.
Yeah. So you knew from like that second, like, is that when you just caught fire and just like started that momentum? Because you're definitely more of a referral agent.
Yes. And that is very important. You have to do a good job for people to refer you. Word of mouth. I never paid for any advertising. It's just strictly word of mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. Because back then, I mean, it's a completely different field now, but yeah, back then I felt like it really was like your reputation that was on the line. Like it, that was like pre-social media where you could even really sell your personal brand. And so you really just had to do a good job at like with your sphere of influence and kind of go from there.
You have to. That's really what you can, leave with your client is, performing your job and how you actually like represented them. That's very, very important. And up to this day, like I still work through referrals only.
Yeah, because we make this joke. I'm like, Mom, like you don't do any marketing. I mean, you'll post stuff on social media, but like I'm here like making calls and like building relationships. And like I think it is a testament to just your quality of work that the people that you worked with when you first started, back in 2005, like you didn't just help them buy their first house, you helped them buy their second and third, and now you're helping their children, which I think is really cool. Because your line of work, you've been able to have a successful business like through referrals and like minimal listings. Like most realtors like love listings, she doesn't. So it's just very interesting.
I do it for close friends and families. But yeah, it's all how you presented yourself. That first impression is really, really important. And that, between you and I working together right now, like that's really important. And they come back.
Yeah,
they come back,
definitely.
and that's the best compliment they can give us is like how hard we work and how really benefited. It's all about what you can do for your buyer. Disregarding like how much you're gonna make. Like I never when I work, I always like work what's best for my buyer.
Yeah.
I don't think about how much. I don't work for the commission is what I'm trying to say. So if you have that mentality, then it's easier to provide like a good service because you're not like just thinking, oh, okay, like let's buy this house because this house is paying 3% versus this one is paying 2%. Like so, I don't like think that way.
Yeah.
So it's always like what I can provide with the client.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's great. I wanted to also like just in the state of where things are now in 2022 and leading into 2023, I did want to, like look back on the recession back in 2008 and just kind of get your perspective because I was so young when all of that stuff was going down. I didn't really understand like what was actually happening until it was all happening in front of me. But just from your perspective, like being at the highest of highs, like starting out as a real estate agent at the height of the market and then just kind of see it all crumbling down. Like when, like, where were you in that? Because I remember like you guys weren't just doing real estate. Like you guys were flipping homes, you were investing. We were about to buy our dream home. Like there were all of these things. And then obviously the market came crashing down. So like
we live our dream homes
we've lived times. We've lived in a lot of dream homes back then.
Yeah. Back then it was.
Like I think obviously, times were different back then. And I think when it comes to building your wealth, it's always been through real estate. So yeah, kind of talk about that time. Like when you bought your first flip. Yeah. And then you started buying like rental properties. Like how did you even get into that? How did you start that? And
I started building from there. I started one house at a time.
Okay.
Pull equity on one, move it to another house, and so forth. So during the crash, I owned like 10 homes.
Yeah. Were they all rental properties or were some of them flips?
couple houses we live on it. And it was just sad that no one really, including myself, kind of like saw that was coming.
Yeah. Except
and
for,
I kind of like felt like once I started going bigger, as far as investment is concerned. And our friends can attest to it. I kind of don't even want to relive that life.
I know, but I think this will be helpful, especially for people who, we're about to enter, or if, some can argue that we are in a recession now. So to kind of look back on those times, like to see, okay, like you were able to rebuild from that. So I think I think that's why I really want to bring
I'm one of the realtor in town that I didn't needed another job, which is like really, really unique, and I'm really grateful for it. The homes were cheaper. You just have to work harder because before that, when you're selling $1 million home, every house, and the crash happened. There's still a lot of buyers, but now instead of selling 3 homes a month, to keep the same lifestyle, you have to sell 10 homes a month.
You're talking about post 2008.
Yes.
Okay, when you were rebuilding. Okay.
So it was. I was just working a lot harder. Which is, I'm not saying I didn't work hard before the recession, but now that the homes were cheaper, you just have to sell more homes.
Yeah, which I feel like people are feeling now too, because they're saying with just the rise of inflation, you feel like you have to work harder, if not more, to even feel like you made the same amount of money last year.
Right.
So
I rode the wave. I never had to find another job,
and you never,
which is beautiful.
I feel like you also never quit real estate.
I never quit real estate. It's my only job since 2004. 2004 till now.
So you've always renewed
like
your license.
18 years. Yeah. I feel old, but
she looks
I never.
Great.
But that never really put me in a position that I would be like. It's depressing. Everyone, felt that.
Because you lose everything. But when you felt like you lost everything and having to rebuild again, like, did you feel like you had to change like your strategy other than just like having to just close more homes a month? Like, what had to change from like, okay, killing it in 2005, 6, 7?
Well, I was still killing it, just in a smaller scale.
Okay.
I was still selling, like, closing 10 homes a month, 5 to 10 homes a month, but in a smaller scale, like $100,000 home to $300,000 home. Wow. So I never. What I'm saying is, I always have buyers.
Okay.
Investors are out there. They will tell me, "Hey, Theresa, I have $2 million. Let's buy 20 homes."
Right. And but where would you find that person? Because it's not like you were doing marketing. It's not like
they're still the same investors that I dealt.
Oh, wow. So not everyone. It's not like all of your buyers disappeared and no one was buying homes. And so I feel like you kind of hear that right now, where like buyers, aren't, wanting to hop on things right away. Like they kind of want to see what happens, but you always had that like running pipeline. I
always maintain a base clientele. Yeah. And mostly like maybe 70% of my clients are all investors. Like, okay. I hardly have, like a traditional buyers. Yeah. Even back in the day when I started, they're mostly investors from New York, LA, nothing much, maybe just 30% of my business is traditional buyers, like first-time home buyers and all those buyers. So always investors. Yeah. And everyone want to invest at that time. So when the market crash, same investors that I have want to buy more.
They can still buy,
Yeah, so
that
I didn't,
sense.
I was even more busier on the smaller scale.
Interesting.
But I never had this I know at that point that you have to like rebuild and start over, and it didn't really bother me. Yeah. I'm so lucky that I did not have to find another job.
Yeah. And that, you were able to still like live, Mm-hmm. Now in the rebuilding stage and being able to just build like your wealth again, why didn't you go back to like investing in investment properties or flipping?
What was your
focus? What was your focus like post 2008?
After that, I was very, very careful of what I do. I don't want to make the same mistake again. I did not even like really think it was a mistake. It's not like all the money that was lost in real estate
Yeah.
came from real estate. So for me, it was the borrowed money. Okay, it came
Yeah.
there. It's not like I work my entire life so hard on a 9 to 5 job
Yeah,
to
and
save
lost
that kind of
everything.
money and lost it.
Yeah.
Maybe I will feel different or more. In my mind, I always have this mentality, hey, I'm 30-year-old. I can rebuild.
Yeah.
Like for me,
Yeah.
I have a long way to go.
Yeah.
So I didn't, we lost a lot of people. There's a lot of people that, so sad.
Yeah.
That became depressed, but I was never like that.
Yeah.
I'm always like survivor.
Yeah, you
in
are.
any ways.
Yeah, you've always been a survivor, and I feel like it's always been, that spirit in you. Like I feel like never got you down.
No, never. And I even like I guess even my friends were saying like if they see me not worried, then they're not worried. Once they see me worried, then they have to worry. I always filter everything and just kind of like, okay, I can do this because not everyone have that kind of attitude.
Yeah.
So I always filter stuff to make it look okay.
Yeah.
Even it's like, so I don't wanna stressing or worrying doesn't help.
Yes.
That's my understanding.
Now I want to now like kind of pivot the conversation a little bit to something a little bit more fun and not as dark and dreary. But around that same time that you were rebuilding, I felt like that's when you also started really traveling. Because I feel like someone can go on your Instagram now and just see you. Like we never know where you are. You were literally in a place. You were just in Iceland. You're going to be traveling a lot more towards the end of this year. So I think about like, okay, like during that time, like pre all of that happening, like, yeah, it was like hustle, 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 grind, 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 like never have time for life, like never had time for my kids, to like even during the rebuilding stage when everyone had lost everything. I felt like that's when you actually really started living life.
Yes, I started traveling in 2010.
Yeah.
And I love it.
What was the first like country outside of like Asia that you got to see and that you just felt like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life?
I went to Paris for New Year's Eve.
Okay.
It's so funny because I was living at the Sky condominium back then.
Oh, that was a fun time.
Yeah,
I was living there too. 19-year-old living on the strip.
I don't think you
Too
were
much
even
fun.
19. I think you were just like 17 or something. So I invited people for New Year's Eve because I have this amazing view. And they started like canceling on me. And this is like December 29 or 30. And in my mind, like, you know what? Screw everyone. I'm going to Paris for New Year's Eve because that's always one of my dreams is to go there. So I did it. Like I packed my bag and went to Paris. So when I experienced how traveling alone is so liberating and like you don't know how capable you are until you travel alone.
Yeah,
everyone feel like I'm so scared traveling alone. I encourage everyone to do that at least once in your life, and you'll see how capable you are as a woman, a girl. Yeah, like I think I encourage you go.
You did.
I mean, for
when when
I was 21.
No, thanks, Mom. I was a little older than that, but I had left my first career in marketing, and I just really felt like so called that I needed to take that time where I wasn't married, I had no mortgage, I had no kids, to be able to take that time and travel. And I was so grateful that my parents were so supportive. And my mom especially, because we talked about this, that you just feel like once you have, like, you kind of break through that barrier, because it is scary, like having to just travel to a place you've never been to. Maybe you don't speak the language, but that experience for me, I think you can experience the level of confidence it gives you, but like not just in yourself, but in the world. Right. And knowing that like the world isn't such a big, scary place that some people make it out to be. And yes, like bad things happen all the time, no matter where you are. So I think at the same time, like yeah, like I feel like God protected me on that trip. He always provided, and I've never felt like I was traveling alone because I always met people.
You're never really alone. People
Yeah.
don't understand. Like, you're never really alone. You meet a lot of people. I have friends all over the world just because of traveling. I met them through traveling, and
like a cruise, or
cruise, like
at a bar. Like it's
just like I travel very, very safe. I don't ask for it. I don't sit on a bar by myself. I don't roam around at night. I'm always in my hotel.
Yeah.
I stay in like not sketchy areas.
Yep.
Stay in the hotel, sightsee in the morning, and be home at night. I don't go out or party by myself. I never ask for it.
Yeah.
So you just have to be responsible.
Yeah.
Being alone and aware of your surrounding, and kind of don't act like tourists. Walk with confidence, walk with purpose. That's the secret of traveling alone, and you will never feel alone.
Yeah. And I also feel like too, like even in moments where I knew I was going to be in a place alone, like God laughs and he's just like, don't worry. Like, and next thing you know, someone is like DMing me on Instagram or texting me saying, hey, I just landed here. Are you still here? And it turns into this fun adventure with maybe friends from home or people who you didn't even realize were in the same country as you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like amazing. That's why I encourage everyone to try it at least once. I know everyone say, oh, I can never, I don't know how you travel alone. I don't know how you can do that. But it's really, really very liberating. And you don't know how capable you are until you travel alone.
Yeah. So tell us about this. I mean, now you're in just this next stage of life that is what most people would term as an empty nester. But you're not living that traditional empty nester life. You're not at home, like sad that your kids are like grown up and like doing their own thing, but like you're doing your own thing. Like you're just like living life, traveling. Like tell us about that. Like what is this like since Trisha graduated from law school?
Well, I'm kind of like 5 years behind with my plan because Trisha decided to go to law school.
Ooh, Trisha.
I think it was 4 years ago. I told them like, hey, my responsibility with you guys is just undergrad. If you guys gonna go master's or pursue law school or med school, you're on your own, right?
Yeah.
Thankfully, Trisha, the only thing we invested in her is like send her to LSAT prep, which she scored high enough to have multiple scholarship.
Yep.
Which is, the best thing we have ever done. And once she graduated law school, I said, I was already traveling then, but at that point in my life, I knew I don't have any more responsibility, not even the dogs. Thank you, Mandy and Brandon, for taking care of Brady and Sam.
Taking care of your dogs.
Of your dogs.
Your dogs.
I'll put that on the wheel. Just kidding. But thank you so much. If not for that, I won't able to do what I'm doing now. Kids were like telling me after Trisha graduated, like I think we went in Puerto Vallarta for our family vacation because we haven't done that for a while, and they told me like, Mom, we're successful now. We're done with school. Go on with your life. Move anywhere you want. Travel wherever you want. Do you. And I started crying. I'm like, why are you guys not worried about me now? Like, I felt like, okay.
She was crazy when we were younger, you guys. Okay, you guys see Theresa now. She's so cool. She's like such a cool mom. But no, she was the crazy Asian mom that Joykoi always talks about. Like, I feel like when Joykoi talks about his mom, I'm like, wow, that is my mom. Like my mom was a psycho.
Well, I'm really, really strict as far as them growing up. Like I log on every morning. I always told them no B grade allowed in the house, only A, which is, I know that's very, very harsh, but I think, look at you guys now. I think
we turned out just fine. But tell them also about the story where I finally got my driver's license and I was so excited to drive myself. But what did you do every single morning for like 6 months?
So I was a very protective mom. So for like she didn't know. I think it was like 3 months straight.
Yeah,
I followed her every morning.
Every morning
I followed her because it was like freeway to freeway. At this point, we were living in Green Valley.
Yeah,
and they kept their school on Durango, Sierra Vista. So I was kind of like afraid if she know how to maneuver or like put the right signal when she's changing lanes. So I followed her every single day.
I know.
Just to make sure
I'm trying to
safe.
make your life easier, and she still wakes up at the crack of dawn and follows me to school.
I followed her to school. So
and this is before you could track your children. So
confident that she can drive by herself.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like what kind of a mom I am.
But going back to your life as an empty nester.
So I love it. Like
yeah.
I told
because you're
Nikki,
still
like,
able to work, which is nice with the kind of job that you have. Like you can still have an income. You've been able to also produce like sources of passive income for yourself and make the right investments. You sold on the high on all of your real estate here in the States. And
I know I was kind of sad that I was selling then. I think this is like in April, which is the last month of being selling houses at the peak of the market. I was kind of sad that I sold my favorite home, but now I'm home. Like,
no, this
I'm
is
happy.
my favorite home.
So, so I moved to the Philippines because my dream is like to live there like 3 months, 3 months in Europe, 3 months in Mexico, and 3 months here.
Yeah.
So that was always my dream. I'm 5 years delayed of what I really want to do, but I'm happy. Like I was able to do it now.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad that like to be able to see you. I feel like that's something that you were always like a woman of your word. Like you never were like, oh, like I have these big dreams and like nothing ever comes to pass. Like you might not know when it's gonna happen, but like from the start, from knowing you were gonna end up in America to now, where you're like, okay, my quote unquote retired life, which she's not retired, guys. She still works her butt off, but being able to live in all these countries, have homes like here in Las Vegas and Puerto Vallarta and now the Philippines, and like seeing it come to fruition, like I think is really inspirational, and I'm really proud of you. And yeah,
I'm really grateful. Like I pray a lot. That's the secret. There's no impossible. Like you need to be praying a lot, and I do. In all these years, I think there was one incident. Like I was last year I was in Switzerland, and I was just sitting like on the Alp, like watching all these guys fly their what is that, they parasail. And it just hit me. Like I was sitting there just kind of like minding my own business and watching them, and I never stopped like thanking God, of course, and at that moment I relive my childhood, and I'm like, wow, like how many people can say that I'm sitting here right now, we're in like, like I was raised with nothing. That's why I knew how appreciative I am for what I have now.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there and I was like so grateful, and I'm like, oh my God, how can a little girl from Aguso sitting here at this moment, absorbing all this. And I was like really emotional at that time that I was there, and just reliving my life, what I remember from my childhood, coming to America, working hard, obtaining all this. Like I'm always grateful.
Yeah. So to wrap up, shout out to Lauren, her favorite game in the whole world. We're not really strangers. I do want to wrap up with some of these fun questions.
Did you pick them?
I did pick them. So we're really family oriented. And so how would you describe our family to a stranger?
Well, we always say like, the Kardashian has nothing, with us. We're very, very funny. All of us. You, Jermaine, Trisha, like if you see us on our normal day-to-day life, it's like it's like a soap opera. It's like a sitcom. Like, I wish someone can film us and produce us.
Carlos, did you hear that?
Sponsor us.
That's so funny. what would you say you have learned about yourself? Like, as we're even talking about this conversation about your life, is there anything you would say you learned about yourself?
I never really talk about myself, like,
Yeah.
or
I don't-
my
yeah.
experiences
Yeah.
or where I came from, what I have. And I think before this conversation, I already told Nikki, like, I don't want this. I want this to be more like an inspiration rather than showing what you have or,
Yeah.
what you had.
And I
So,
think I think ultimately we wanted to make sure that this was a conversation, like, you aren't bragging about your life. Like, a lot of this came from hard work, and to show, like, you can really start from can really start from nothing. I feel like everyone just sees the highlight reel of Instagram and they just think like, oh, well, maybe if I get this job that my life will be perfect, or like, oh, like she has this like beautiful house, or she gets to travel the world. Like, all she does, like, it doesn't seem like you do much, but you work so hard.
Yeah,
so
there's always behind the scene. Like, even now that I'm traveling, I wake up at 2 a.m. No one knows that I wake up at 2 a.m., answer email, text client, making sure everything that I put together is still in place. I'm just very meticulous and perfectionist. So I make sure everything is like, even if my client said everything is okay, I make sure I wake up at 2 a.m. Hey, did the mover came? Did the inspector go properly? Like, I'm still like on top of everything.
What goal do you want to achieve for, let's say, 2023, because we're about to wrap up 2022?
2023, I think my goal for 2023 is arriving before 2022 is over.
Arriving? What does that mean?
Not arriving. It's like I dream of having a hut, just a nipa hut on the beach, and this is beyond my
a hut.
Yeah.
I thought she meant hot, like she's describing a man or something. A hut, HUT.
And so I'm building this dream house. It's a small villa, and it's gonna be done.
It's a small villa. You guys, I'm telling you, like, we'll post pictures when the remodel's done. It is not this like little small villa. She's not living on a beach hut.
So I thought that was my goal for 2023. So I guess I just expedited it.
Okay.
But I still wanna. I'm not officially retired. I still work when clients reach out to me, and I make sure that that's still taken care of.
Yeah, no, that definitely is a priority. What advice would you give to anyone who is just starting out in real estate, because you've had this almost 20-year career in it, and you've been through good economies and bad economies and buyers markets and seller markets?
I love helping new licensed agents. In fact, I mentored a couple, and I always want to show them or teach them what I know, because I wish when I started, someone taught me what I'm giving them as far as like pointers and how to get buyers and stuff like that. Because passing real estate, that's not just it. Now you have to find buyers, find client, and don't be shy to give out your cards. At least if you give out 10 cards, at least one or two of those know someone who's looking for a house, or maybe one of those 10 people are buying. So that's what I still do that. Yeah. Even now, I still hey, I still put the word out there. I'm in real estate, so so they know or that's just how you find clients.
Yeah, great advice. Now, final. You get to draw a question that you get to ask me, because I'm still your child, and I want to know that you love me and you're proud of me.
All right. What is my defining characteristic?
Yeah, what would you say is my defining characteristic?
Yeah. Oh, that's a question for me?
Yeah, for you to answer about me.
Oh, wow. I thought it's her now that's answering the question.
Yeah.
It's back to me again.
Yes, now here.
You are very detailed on everything. I cannot do your job. You are very good at what you do. That's why I never had a fall through since I started working with her, you guys. I think you do a really, really great job for what you chose to do for the moment. You are very workaholic. You are good with follow-ups. And again, I don't know how you do it because we're so opposite. I don't like paperwork. I avoided paperwork for many, many years because I feel like I'm supposed to be out there selling rather than sitting in the office. But you amaze me when you do that because you're a better person than I am because I can't do stuff like that.
I'm just kidding. Well, thanks, Mom. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you guys for having me. Her first ever
podcast. I guess
channel,
it will be
YouTube
on the podcast.
Channel.
I still don't have a name for my channel, but hopefully we will when this video gets posted. So we'll see you guys next time.
All right. Good night, guys.